idea says, like, you know, is that some kind of human god, you know?
Yes. Yes.
So he's supposed to do his work with, you know, good conscience, you know, because you are making it's a judge that can determine. Killing is
yes, it's a matter of, sometimes it's a matter of life and death.
Life and death. It's a judge that can say, I sentence you to death, and it will be carried out without any, because it's enforcing the law. So people who are given that kind of power ought to understand the enormity, you know, of the powers in their hand.
But is it that they don't understand the powers, the enormity of the powers they have, or they are placed in a situation where they can't, they sort of like restricted?
See, if somebody look at, I still keep on saying, some people will go and join the Nigerian police force today, you know, or even the Nigerian army, not because they are interested in policing, you know. They want that uniform that will confer on them certain privileges. They can go on the street and start collecting, even graduates, you know, collecting. Some will go into the judiciary, not because they are really interested in justice or whatever. Oh, if I in this position, I will be able to, you know, use it for something. When we are talking of reforms, you know, in the past, before the civilian administration, we were talking about poor pay for judges and so on and so forth. And this has improved tremendously in the, you know, in the past few years. But has that stopped, you know, what we are talking about? We thought then that, you know, okay, it's the poor pay that is leading to, this is the reason why, you know, some judges, you know, resort to this to make ends meet and all that. But then the pay structure has been, you know, improved. But that has still not stopped some who are, you know, interested in that kind of thing from doing so. But like I said, in Lagos, for instance, we have over, Lagos State Judiciary, we have over, you know, 50 judges. But it is the one or two that you hear about, that generalize about and say, oh, they are all corrupt, they are this, they are that. It is those few that are giving the entirety of the profession. You talk about senior advocates, so senior advocates are the one carrying bribes and all that, or go and, you know, how many senior advocates do we have in Nigeria? How many do we know? But you hear of one and you conclude that they are all rogues, you know, that's what they do, you know. So, but the point I'm making, it still boils down to the entire, take your profession, journalism profession. People talk and say, oh, brown envelope, or is it white envelope? I don't know what is a brown envelope, I think it is called, you know. Do you then just conclude that because of that, the journalism profession in Nigeria is, you know, of course, we have to look at the environment we are in. Yep. Our entire society needs reformation, needs restructuring, needs reordering. So you cannot isolate one sector and say, oh, this is a problem of the society, others are not. If you have ever experienced taking somebody to the general hospital in Lagos and you see what goes on there, you know, you say, oh, all the doctors in Nigeria should be slaughtered, should be killed, should be, you know. So it's about us. Yeah. And we need to begin to address that. Okay. And I think he spoke about the quality of the education we are getting. You know, some are lawyers today, they don't understand. I don't know how you can be a lawyer without being a philosopher of some sort. You know, you are supposed to, you know, that's the truth. You know, to understand, you are not a mechanic. You can decide to be a mechanic, 2 + 2 is 2, and other, but yeah, mechanic, you know. You know. Okay. So you need to understand the reason, the philosophy behind everything, so that you'll be able to.
Okay. Mr. Naji, all right. Some have argued that all this craving for money has arisen because our system does not look after you when you're old. So there is the urge to take as much as you can while you are able-bodied so that you can look after yourself in old age. Does that have any merit? And I'm talking about across the board. Yes, generally.
It goes without saying. But then that would be too simplistic if I say just yes and then sit back. Everything under the sun is supposed to be simple. But our thinking makes them complex. Because the way we think is the way we live. If I want to pick this sheet of paper, simply this piece of paper, and no time makes it difficult for me with a gun on my neck. Don't you see my situation has changed?
I don't have a gun.
No, I'm just making a reference. You couldn't be, you're so gentle, you couldn't even kill a fly. I can say that. Now, but for sake of this discussion, if you make it difficult for me to just lift this paper, which my hands, by God's grace, can reach, don't you see the situation has changed? It becomes difficult. And that is how life is lived on earth. Most of the pains and problems you see are man-made. The air you breathe, all it takes is for somebody to cover your nostrils. And that air, as abundant as it may be, will not be available to you. The point I'm making now is that, yes, people even make reference that most of the corruption we have today started in 1975, when the civil servants had to be sacked, this and that. But what's the population of the civil servants? Did it now permeate to the other civil society generally? The problem is some people have lost their conscience because the educational system has lost that socialization aspect called conscientization. Because education runs in a two-pillar, from pedagogy to andragogy. That means they have to be learning till you die. Then what you are supposed to learn when you were younger, if you are not able, or you were not able to learn that, you don't have much time to compensate, especially in a situation that is in a flux. That's why many tall, huge people will behave like kids because of what we call regression. They didn't have the opportunity to learn. Some people extrapolated it that those who smoke too much, who talk too much, who chew gum, who use their mouth, did not have enough breastfeeding. But that's a different matter for the psychologist to address. So the point is that it is not necessarily everybody who does not have the facility to make ends meet that would descend to the level of either stealing or doing things that are untoward. Some people say, I remember the family I come from. Some people say, for heaven, I will not do this. There are certain forces that drive human conduct. In the instance we have here, yes, preponderance of such people, we can have them. We have them in this country. People say, now that I'm still young, let me grab. But you still find that when you grab, the value of the money, as at the time you grabbed it, you would put it in the bank, it is not being matched by the level of inflation. That is if the bank does not collapse. That is one aspect. So you find that it's like Solomon said, that the foolish people continue to accumulate. When they die, somebody will just, with one pen, you just fritter it away. 45 years solid suffering and pain will fritter away. Now, what we need is to re-engender the process of conscientization in the curricula of schools. As we sit down here, if we see coughing, it no longer means anything to us. Insofar as it's not a member of our family. Cough means something to you only when it is related to you. Otherwise, it's a daily activity. In those days, you could hardly see a corpse because even the municipal authorities will make it difficult for ordinary people, not in the least children, to see corpse. And when they do, it is a problem. Nightmares and all that. Today, these things are common. So our conscience have become so bastardized and blocked, and politicians are not helping the matter. In fact, when somebody enters politics in the Nigerian sense, it is like you have now got the license to behave bestially. Anything is, hey, it's politics now. You kill Mr. J because he wants to, yeah, it's politics. You snatch somebody's wife because he says, hey, now politicians. That is not the standard. Politics should be, held. We should have people who have conscience. Remember, I'm not saying education, because education without conscience has no meaning. The linkage to conscience is not about religion. It is about what Plato and all the philosophers of the old will talk about. When you are developing a leader, the society should train the leader, take responsibility and ensure that the leader is schooled in those hard subjects, geometry in their days, and so on and so forth, so that the brain furniture is well settled for governance. So when you train a man or a woman in the right way, no medical doctor who is, for example, a surgeon, who really went through the mill will behave like a carpenter in a surgery table. No way. Because your conscience will prick you, you are now doing the wrong thing. That is why the judiciary, the lawyers must be held on a higher pedestal of morality and good conduct. Because even in court, if you are a lawyer and you misbehave, the law will be harder on you because you cannot even claim ignorance as a first offender. You ought to know better.
So the question...
Caesar's wife should be beyond suspicion and reproach.
The question then is perception. Right now, the perception out there is that the legal system in Nigeria is neither here nor there. But that is not what we're hearing. From what you said, it's just a few people who are turning the brightness of the legal profession into darkness. But at the end of the day, how do we change that perception? Would a group of people coming up to say, we will carry on reforms? Would that make a difference? We'll answer that question when we come back from this break. Join us again.